What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Boardroom Podcast, where we help you stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Now, we got a few things we can dive into. There's this last month, August, was a wild ride. It went from being one of our worst months to being our absolute record month. And it's like there's so much volatility with startups and things like that. And a few things we can dive into, but how's the month been for you, 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸? What do you want to dive into?
Yeah, man. Like you said, record-breaking month, ARR through the roof, one of the best ones we've ever had. And a lot of it was coming from a mentorship that you were able to attend. And a lot of it was the Fit Pros, right? We have our portfolio companies are majority of our Fit Pros under our blue chip. We run the masterminds before with Fit Pros, and there's a lot of clout in that space with you in it, and a lot of trust in that factor. But you showed up, you did a presentation, and they bought on the spot. I saw the presentation, very good presentation, limiting beliefs all through it was just really, really good. But what I do notice with Fit Pros, I don't know if it's just because it's us or is it just them in specifically, right? I noticed that Fit Pros take action, or they're willing to pull the trigger or willing to do something way more quickly than your average business owner. Like it could be like maybe a service provider or another coach, a consultant, or like in a different space. I don't know if those guys just want to look at every single thing, but when it comes to Fit Pro, they're like, "Hey, you can solve that for me because I hate doing this." Okay,
here. Yeah, I think it's just kind of like the mentality where it's because the way I look at it is you don't get into shape by trying to perfect everything that you're doing. Right? Like you got to get under the bar and start putting in the reps, right? You just got to start doing the work. And I think just the nature of that, where like in order to get to a certain point physically, you have to just start doing the work and learn on the go, right? And then the cool thing with that is when you start putting in the work and learning on the go, you also have to invest into your education. So a lot of Fit Pros, they're just in the habit of investing, paying to learn, right? So you typically pay to get your certification. And then when you start working at a gym, you're paying to rent space and things like that. Or if you're a gym owner, you're paying to get the location, facility, equipment, all those things. So I think just the nature of the prerequisite before becoming a fitness professional and starting a business is like you have to be a go-getter. All right, you don't get in shape sitting on your ass doing nothing. So I think that's why Fit Pros typically they're fast action takers. Like they take action very quickly because that's just in order to get in shape, you have to take action. All right. But the other side of it too is that you need to, if once you can prove that you can solve the problem that they have, like actually prove that you can solve it, then they're like, okay, cool, makes sense, let's go. Right. And that's what I love about Fit Pros and that space in general, why it still holds a dear place in my heart, because I really enjoy working and serving them at a high level. Now we just get to serve them with technology, you know?
And then what I noticed too is like I said earlier, that our blue chip clients are pretty much all Fit Pros. I've done like 8 onboarding calls this week, right? So I'm taking the reins on that, taking the boards on that, and them all, taking all the onboarding calls, and it felt good, to get back in that grind again. But it felt good to hear the clients, right? And they're all Fit Pros. It's great because like them compared to like other business owners, they are so coachable. They are so like willing that, hey man, like whatever you can do, like help me out. Like I'm all open, I'm willing to do what it takes. If like they're just so coachable. They're not pushing back on you like it feels like the other people. Like not a knock on anybody else. There's obviously coachable clients that are outside of Fit Pro, obviously, right? But it's
It's a 9-day difference. Like, I mean, I will be honest. Like, it is a 9-day difference. And I think it's because of that mentality where it's just like the work works on you more than you work on it. Like when you're getting in shape, the process of getting in shape works on you a lot more. And then when you're in that realm, there's always somebody bigger than you. There is always somebody who's ahead, right? So it's one of those things that's like fun. Like the moment you think you figured it out, you enter a new room and then you realize you don't know shit, right? And I think Fit Pros run into that a lot more than most people, which is why they kind of lends itself. And also because they're coaching people, right? It's really hard to be in a position where you're helping someone transform their bodies, their entire life. You're giving someone a new identity. It's really hard to be in that place if you're not someone who can be coached, right? The better you are at being coachable, the better you are at coaching others, right? And I think it's because of that relationship that they have with their clients that kind of forces them to be more coachable because they see how radically someone's life can change when they're willing to listen to them and implement and do the work, right? And they see that same thing inside of their business when they find a good mentor and they listen to their mentors, they're radically able to see great results. So that reinforces that feedback loop, right? So it's cool on the product side where it's like, we can recommend, hey, this is the best way to implement Charlie. And they're like, cool. Yeah, you have more data than I do. So, I mean, awesome. We'll do it that way. Right. Which is an incredible thing. And I'm excited to, we're going to be developing some really cool features specifically for that vertical, and it's going to benefit everyone else, but like having some nuanced features specifically that Fit Pros are going to be able to really take advantage of and use to take their business to the next level. I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah. They're very, very excited. And it just felt good getting on those onboarding calls. I'm like, oh man, these are easy. There's no, get the breath of fresh air. I was like, all right, we're getting my job so easy right now. Thank you for being the person that you are. But one of the big things that I mean, it comes up, but just in this space in general, and I know you got the question quite a few times is, hey, I tried other AIs, but how do we make, is Charlie going to be actually sound human in the conversations? Right? That's a big thing that a lot of business owners asked us and at Charlie and everything like that. But you got that a lot at the event is, how does it really sound human like? And we've been playing around with this a lot with, I know some in our company, some call it Vanilla Charlie. I call it Naked Charlie. But what we found is really taking down the restraints of Charlie, being very specifically on the objective, and taking some of the stuff like you telling it to do something when you just take back pull down the bars a little bit, let him do. And we found some like, holy crap, he's really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's because of, so technically the reason why is because we've got a sales engine on top of Charlie, right? So it's very specifically trained, and it's really the natural language understanding layer where the system is being trained on sales processes. It's trained on having sales conversations. So Charlie's brain, the more conversations it is having, the more sales conversations and having, the more sales feedback we're giving it. The baseline brain of Charlie, the baseline engine of Charlie, is becoming very, very good at having sales conversations, which in turn is making all the permutations and different use cases of Charlie be better out the box, right? So as the system is getting seasoned, now clients are getting out the box, they're getting a seasoned sales professional, right? Which is a cool thing. Is like, as we're continuing to do the work of training Charlie and developing that sales engine, Charlie, the baseline Charlie is like, somebody signs up for Charlie, they're getting a 10-year sales vet out the gate that understands how to handle objections, how to reframe, how to meet objectives and things like that. And it's very, very cool that we're starting to kind of hit that tipping point where baseline Charlie is a highly seasoned vet, which is awesome.
Right. And then we also notice is usually in people's scripting or anything like that, messaging, scripting, whatever that it would get to like VA, whatever, it would say, for example, like, you know, what are your current struggles or something like that, right? Well, what the client was doing, they would say like, got it. So what are your current struggles with blah, 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 or okay, cool. Oh, I see. Oh, how awesome. And then they.
Yeah. And it would have to do that because most bots out there, if you don't do that, it sounds god awful. Like it just sounds awful. Where like Charlie's at a point now where it's sophisticated enough to where you don't even have to do that. And it's just going to do those things on its own because again, most platforms have been developed by very technical people that don't understand sales, right? And they don't understand human psychology. They don't understand like reframing, tie downs, really good sales principles where like Charlie's getting developed with all those things in mind. And now like it's conversationally do its own mirroring and it can conversationally do its own reframe, right? And it can conversationally do its own tie down and handle objections and things like that, like without you having to necessarily like tell it how to do that. Like any good sales rep, like if you bring on a good sales rep, you don't have to like necessarily train them on sales. You just have to train them on your offer and how to position your offer. And then they really start to figure out the rest on their own. And you just got to continue to build their conviction and build their knowledge on the product and what they're selling and how it impacts the problem that it solves. But once they really understand that, they're able to do an effective job having sales conversations on your behalf, which is where Charlie's trying to get to. And it's so cool to see that happening. Like it's been really cool to see that. I'm like, wow, I never even gave it information on how to do that. And it's just doing that on its own.
Yep. And then what we found out too is by you doing that, you are really restricting his personality, right? So our head dev went in there, started combos, and they're like, hey man, you need to tell the clients, don't put got it, don't put okay, cool, because you're really restricting the personality of Charlie by the settings you're putting, by how does he talk, what kind of energy, because we have all these settings. Is he masculine? Is he emotional? So when you set up a Charlie, you put all these things in, but by you restricting him a little bit, you're messing with all those personalities and those persona settings, etc. So just by removing literally something like got it before the actual example, we were like blown away. Most like, holy hell, this whole is taught you like deep. You got to be like, what the hell?
And that's the cool thing. I think that's why that's really what makes Charlie different, is that we're building it with the sales perspective in mind. The other thing is that we're building it for ourselves. Right? Like I'm building like my dream product that if I want to launch a new offer or a new company and I've never done anything in that space, I can just sign up for Charlie and get a trained, seasoned sales agent out the gate and start feeding it leads and just say, hey, I need these XYZ objectives to be met before I feel good about sending them a checkout or before I feel good about booking them for a sales call, whatever it is. And then it's going to meet those objectives. And then the next stage is a no-brainer, so it just makes it so much easier to scale a business and scale campaigns when you don't have to worry about hiring people to manage your leads.
Yeah, because the biggest restraint, and it was one of the things you touched at the event, was, who here hates hiring a new VA, messenger, SDR, etc., and then spending 3 months of your time, either they work out or they don't work out, and it's obviously they only work 8 hours a day, if that, and you're spending all this money, right? Where we're getting to the point of we can get an out the box Charlie, instead of 3 months you trying to get that person, the SDR, whatever, up to speed and working hopefully at a high level within 3 months. We're trying to get that Charlie within a couple of weeks, like outside the box.
I mean, the goal is I want to get that Charlie within like 24 hours. Like that's what I want to get to. I want to be able to just like sign up and give it my objectives and then deploy it live. And within 24 hours is like, damn, it's already.
When it's happened plenty of times on accounts, like, oh my God, Charlie's had booked our first call already. And they literally went live like an hour before.
Yeah, it's producing results very, very quickly. And the shorter we can get that timeline, the more valuable it's going to become, because that process of training, interviewing, vetting, and trying to get people ramped up within KPI, like it takes time, and there's no way you can speed up that process. And I don't care how many recruiting agencies that pre-train their reps before they hand them to you on a silver platter. I don't give a damn how many of those if you've hired those, like each person that you get, even from a seasoned recruiting agency or talent agency, like you still have to train them, right? The only time you bring on a rep who's able to hit the ground running is when they have already successfully done the thing in a competitor's business. Then you bring them on and they come out the box with their own set of skills, right? That they can come in and start implementing. Those are the only situations where I brought somebody on and they've required little to no training from me, is when they were poached from a competitor and they were doing a phenomenal job for a competitor, right? So Charlie's getting to a point now where it's like that, right? Like we've got use cases that have worked in different verticals. So now you can just download them into your account, and then out the gate, like you can, if you make no changes to those use cases other than filling out your business information, out the gate, it's able to start implementing and working inside of your business with little to no adjustments needed from your side. So that's the part I am most excited about. And I think that's the part that we need to talk and show people more of. It's like, this is it out the gate, right? We just download a template from our proven use case library. You make some adjustments to the settings and to the business information. And then now it knows enough about your offers to start having legit conversations with leads. And you're like, oh, like, what the heck?
We got to that back in the day of those agencies that get a proven setter. And I was like, yeah, I'm over. They're like, I'm on 2. We're still trading ass. But where's the proven setter?
People need time to actually really get within KPI. And AI doesn't need time. It just needs enough reps. It needs enough data
enough rep and just enough good quality information that you put to it. And it doesn't need to learn that per se, right? It's rock and roll, and there's a lot of information.
It's smart enough to figure out the rest on its own if you give it enough information for it to work off as a baseline. So I think that's kind of where we're at. What other things were you?
I know it's part of plenty of time before, but what's the real reason why a lot of pickles run the DM stuff, right? They run the ID DMs, the FP Messenger DMs, and all that stuff, right? Well, what is the real reason why those DMs don't convert, right? Is it a combination of the conversations that you're at? Is it a combination of speed to lead? Is it a combination of follow-up? Is it a combination of the offer? I mean, to me, I think it's a combination of all that.
Yeah, it's like a combination of all of it. But like, if we're breaking it down to like the core, assuming you have a good enough offer in your ads that gets people to want to reach out to you and send you a DM, it comes down to speed to lead, quality of conversation, and availability, right? And friction. So the thing with the DM campaign is they work out the gate so well. Like you can scale a DM ad very quickly, but it's a volume play. And for every, like a DM setter, a human DM setter can effectively handle maybe like 250 to 500 leads a month. If you're like, if they're savage, right? With the DM campaign, you're getting like 500 leads per week. And sometimes, if depending on how much you're spending, you're getting like 500 DMs a day. So if you need a human setter or a DM setter for every 500 leads and you're getting 500 leads a day, that means you need like 30 people to process all those effectively, right? So that's why like they cap out, because at some point you go beyond the point of diminishing returns, where it's like there's just really not as much juice as you can squeeze from this human being, right? And then you can only squeeze so much juice from this human being before they burn out and quit, which is why they churn. Because once you squeeze all the juice from them, they're like, I got nothing left to do. I don't even want to do this shit anymore. And then they look for an opportunity. So,
oh my God, so funny.
But it's true. And anyone who is running high volume campaigns like DM ads knows this. I could tell you your life right now. If you're doing $30,000 to $50,000 a month using DM ads, you are glued to your phone at least 10 to 12 hours a day. And if you're not glued to your phone at least 10 to 12 hours a day, you're missing out on revenue. Straight up. You're missing out on revenue if you're not doing that. And then your team, they're glued to their phones 8 to 10 hours a day. And if they're not, they're missing out on revenue, right? So it's a high volume play. And because you're bringing in high volume, you don't have enough time to effectively personally follow up with all the leads that could have converted if you had the bandwidth to even follow up with them, right? So you eventually hit this point where you are pushing this boulder up this mountain and you're like, F me, I do not see the tip of the mountain anywhere in sight. Like you're pushing it up and then you look down and you're still at ground level. You're like, what? I feel like I've been pushing this thing for so long.
Oh man,
you know,
I mean, that's a perfect segue into my last question here is the plateau of these fitness accounts that run these DM ads. And we know a lot of them, right? I know we went back and forth. Like, what do you think? Like, is like plateau. What do I think? Like, to me, it's like a 50K month, like sustainably 50K months. I know something grows
you
to
can
100.
You can get to 100K a month with the DM funnel. But I know, like, I tip my hat. I salute you. If you are listening to this and you're doing 100K a month with your DM funnel, you have all my respects, because I know you are a dog. Like you've got a bunch of dogs on your team. Like your team you got some savages on your team that are in there. But getting beyond that point is you got to have a bunch of savages on your team that are like that, right? And if you look at your numbers, you've got maybe like 1 to 2 people who are really driving those results because they're good at like getting in there and being on top of it. But it's hard to get a bunch of people who are able to do that at a high level, which is why AI is like coming for those jobs, like, because Charlie is able to do that at a high level across every single lead, and it remembers to follow up with them individually, and it'll do that dynamically. So you just can't keep up with that. You know what I mean? And that's why when people hit that plateau and they plug something like Charlie in, they're able to get beyond that point. But even then, there's only so much money you can spend on a DM funnel before you start losing efficiency with your capital, right? So in the beginning, you can spend up to like 30, even as high as like 50K in a month and get some decent results. But it's hard to sustain that level of spend over a long period of time because your lead volume and the lead quality is so volatile. It just goes up and down and goes in waves. So 1 week could be riding the wave, and then the next week you're like, what the hell is this? Right? And it's just up and down.
Yeah, and we know that firsthand because all of our blue chip clients come to us because they're so sick and tired of that DM route. And every one of them, it's all the same characteristics. It's this up and down months constantly, can't get sustainability. They spend more, the cost goes dramatically through the roof, and their return on the investment lower. And then the third thing, and this is where you can really see it in their face, because we called it out, like when we would have a call, we would just jump on right after. the face that's showing on this camera,
you can see the light in their eyes starting to fade. Like I know very vividly who you're talking about. Because we jumped on with them, and I'm like, dude, you've got like, I can see it in your eyes, bro. Like you got like 30 more days before you burn this business down. Like he's like, how do you know? I'm like, I can see it in your face. Like you are already, you're burnt out, but you're pushing through it. And I'm like, I guarantee you, bro, you got like 30 more days left in you. Like you've been grinding it out for this long. I can see it. And he was like, yeah, man, like, you know, but it's kind of a rite of passage. You know what I mean? Like it's where you learn the most effective way to have conversations with people to get them to book a call or fill out an application with high intent, right? You learn the foundations of persuasion and what gets people to respond and what gets them to actually complete the next step. And then the next evolution of that is starting to invest into diversifying your acquisition. So you never stop doing the DM ads and DM funnel, but then you start allocating spend towards getting like a call funnel dialed in, right? And then once you start getting your call funnel dialed in, that gives you the ability to unlock your ability to scale vertically and just spend more money, right? And that increasing your spend on that actually correlates with an increase in revenue. Whereas like with the DM campaign, it's hard to do that. You got to give it like a longer time span where you can start to see that increase in revenue. But with a call funnel, it's pretty linear up until a certain point where you just need to dial in your business operations, your team management and all that stuff. But you can definitely scale to multiple 8 figures with a single call funnel, where rarely seen anybody do that with a DM funnel, right? Like
I think the highest I've ever seen DM funnel 200 maybe. But you don't hear nothing about them after they hit the mark though. Like their coach doesn't bring it up anymore. Like I stopped seeing my client hit this, and then you don't see it for months.
Yeah, because at that point, I think they fizzled out. And then they squeeze as much as they could from it that month. And then it's just like it fizzled the next month. But that's where AI can start to, I think with Charlie, and this is what I'm excited to prove with some of these newer clients, is like with Charlie, it gives you the ability to get more out of your DM funnel before you really need to start looking at a VSL, right? It gives you the ability to get more. You get your bandwidth back, your team gets their bandwidth back, and then you can actually invest resources into getting your call funnel dialed in, because now you have this thing that's giving you all the juice that you need from your DM campaign. So we're right up on time. We gotta wrap up. But hopefully you guys found this helpful, and, we'll continue this conversation in our next podcast. But I mean, I would love to get your thoughts for those of you guys who are listening. Are you building your business with a DM funnel or with a book a call funnel? And if you are building with a DM funnel, like, how are you liking it? Do you feel that point of burnout? And if you do, let us know. Or if you're using a book call funnel, do you love it, or are you struggling to scale it? Because we didn't actually talk about how difficult a book call funnel is. It's actually significantly way more difficult than a DM funnel. Like, it's not even close. You can't even compare the two against each other, because one you can have up and running within a day and producing sales in a week. The other one, you can be working out for like 90 days with no light at the end of the tunnel. And then out of nowhere, boom, it's off to the races. All right. So we'll probably be worth talking about in the next episode, but go ahead and leave your comments. We'll love to know your thoughts. Are you rocking with the DM or call funnel? And if you are, what do you like about it? What do you hate about it? Let us know. Till next time, stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Peace.